Number one building block is you got to cultivate trust.
Yeah.
So important that you cultivate trust. And then I chose the word cultivate trust intentionally instead of just trust, because it's something that you're forever building. Mm-hmm. That it can be deposited into, and it can also be withdrawn in your life. Proverbs says this in verse 28:6. It says, "Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than he who is crooked and two-faced, though he is rich." Here's the point of this, is the idea of integrity. You know, the word integrity comes from the word integer, meaning the whole. And the way that you cultivate trust is that you show up in your marriage every day as a whole person. Not meaning that, like, you know, you're half-hearted, meaning that you're consistent, that you're constantly building into the trust of your marriage because you do what you'll say you'll do. I know this sounds basic, but this is how you build trust over time. But here's what happens is that all of us are human. Can I get an amen? Amen. And because we're human, how many of you know we're going to drop the ball from time to time? That we're gonna say, I will do something for you, and then we didn't do it. We said that we would show up in some way, and we didn't show up in that way emotionally or whatever it may be. And what happens is it creates a gap in our life, right? There's a gap between what you said and what you did, between what I expected and what I experienced. And all of us have a choice in the moment is what we'll put into the gap. And this happens in your marriage. It happens in all the relationships in your life, determining what you'll put into the gap. And the way that you cultivate trust over time is that you determine, I'm going to put in the gap trust. That whenever what I expected of the person doesn't line up with what I'm experiencing, I'm going to put in trust. And here's the question some of you may be asking. All right, what if they continue to create a gap? What if there's a repeated gap continued to make? It seems like we're dealing with the same thing over and over. What is the responsibility of the other person in cultivating trust? And I would say this. Is trustworthiness, worthy of trust, doesn't mean I'm perfect. But it does mean that when I blow it, I own it. One of the best ways you can build trust is to own it whenever you create the gap. And do whatever is necessary to repair the trust that is broken. If it requires her having all of your passwords, then give her all the passwords. If it requires you DMing nobody, DM nobody. Are y'all with me? What's more important? I gotta have freedom. No, how about you have a healthy marriage, and that you have a trusting marriage, and that you don't leave any crack for the enemy to get in and destroy what God is building. So you have to cultivate trust. Number 2.
Yeah, I would add to that too, just really quickly, is that with our kids growing up, they would say, I'm sorry if they messed up or something. I'm sorry. I'm like, don't just be sorry, change your actions. So it's not just owning the thing, but also doing different the next time, which helps rebuild trust as well, right?